Welcome. I hope everyone is surviving and I hope it's starting to make a little more sense. Your days are starting to brighten up. The current trajectory of our world is speeding up. And there's arguments out there where it's like, yeah, you can't speed like time is what time is time. You can't speed up time. That would be time travel in a way, right? Like you can't speed up time. You can only kind of talk about time. To time and maybe transcend it. There's no real speeding up and slowing down necessarily, and there's more of a perception to it. But that perception is pretty much what fuels the rapid changes of the civilization of our world, of our society, of what's being perceived. And when there's just a trajectory of out of context information on a sort of planetary level, and each human is in their own sort of digitalized bubble of kind of dictation. I guess that is what the battle is sort of realizing what is and what isn't a true extension of yourself, and what is merely just an electronic wearable that is dictating your trajectory of your life, whether or not it is a physical wearable or some sort of digital um, push towards believing something or indoctrinating yourself into an ideology. Whether or not it's one of those two things, it's happening, and in a way where we have to, or in a way where we have access to what seems to be simultaneous truths. The individual who consumes this eventually will become dependent upon the electronic intervention of sort of the whereabouts of information. And some might look at sort of our tools of electronics as I have the tool, so I'm going to use it. Others, majority I would say, have this belief or this trajectory of um, there's machines out there who already know this, so I don't have to know this. I don't need to know this. I don't want to know this. And I guess in a way, these are the sort of beginning grounds of the first sort of battle or battles of what I believe is kind of happening. And I think people are slowly going to realize that the story, the narrative, will eventually be very different according to your perception or where you were born or your environment in which you are being shaped. And eventually people will realize that what they're being given is not the same as what everyone else is being given The screen provides a sort of mirror of yourself, and I think not a lot of people are fully aware that we're dictating our own trajectories of flooding ourselves with this dogmatic and propagandic behavior that we feel like almost obligated to access, because there's a presented guilt of you're not tuned in, so you better tune in, right? Because there's not, at one point there was more of a direct access point to information, to what's happening in a news sort of level. Now everything is global in this sense, and the local stuff sort of gets lost in between the advertisements and the celebrity drama and all this nonsense. There's literally a neglect of localized community. And language will only begin to develop as a weapon where you will become dependent on using it in such a way where you will literally only be forced to sort of use language as almost like a conformity tool. The world I think we're going to move into, language to some will be only useful behind closed doors where no one is watching. And the majority of people will take place in this kind of language, which we are kind of taking place in now, where anything can be true, which permits a sort of fake, fantastic, really can't, a sort of fantasy, fantastic sort of outlook with our language. And, we're not going to be surrounded by the screens or by the metaverse or by the virtual reality. Not at first. What will happen is there will be doorways and access points of entering the metaverse where language and image can be virtually anything, and it won't matter who contradicts it, whether or not, um, whether how to not whether or not, but like it won't matter who contradicts it unless it's in a physical sort of sense where you're hurting the individual's body. I imagine this sort of hub of people going to these hubs of technology where they're almost going for their daily fix and permitting themselves to enter the machine or being hooked up to the machine. They will retract the sort of access to the screen, I will think. It'll be much more pay heavy, pay heavy, pay heavy, money, 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 pay heavy, buy in. It's only going to get worse, by the way. Sorry. Sorry about you. Part of me hopes I sound fucking tinfoil hat, but a part of me is like, this is gonna happen, and it really is. It's happening. It's just I'm elongating the process. Um, let's see if I can't say anything. What happens when the screen always agrees with you? Carry on.